Who's ready to do some potting? Who's ready to do some potting? Who's ready to do some potting? You're not gonna sing with us, Lizzie? That's crazy.
Who's ready?
She's like,
Man, that's fine. This is the conscious reconstruction stuff since don't nobody else
That's fine.
want to join in. Just me and Big Ash over here having a great time. All you other people,
They didn't wear their potting shoes.
they
It's
didn't.
cool.
It's
I
Next
cool.
ain't even
week-
got shoes on right
You know,
now.
we not.
You right?
We not even gonna introduce them. They here.
They just there.
Yeah, they got. We got the other two hosts.
To them.
They here. Not singing niggas. We don't really do sing. We don't sing.
I mean, by now you should know who I am, so
No, don't nobody know you.
that's cool.
Don't nobody. No, man.
How was
Nobody knows.
how was that be?
God damn.
I'm just being honest. Letting them know that he's not known. Oh, unknown as. Mystery ass nigga. You like the mystery flavor at the dollar store.
Sometimes shit. Niggas be lost. What? What is so funny? Like,
I don't know. Get the contact off y'all stupid ass shit that y'all pass.
I made you so bad.
Because y'all right. Why is that so funny? I don't know. It was funny the way he said it. Like sometimes niggas be lost. I quit. All right.
all right.
Very serious now.
Are you sure?
Oh,
How serious are you?
Siri just turned on. Stop doing that.
Siri likes you.
Hope not. I don't like this hoe. She's never helpful to me. Never. Every time I use
Really?
her. What are you talking about? I don't know. What's a fucking Fifth Third Bank?
I just was saying that in Siri yesterday, and she was talking about sister. I'm like,
All right.
bruh,
Yeah.
Fifth
Pissing me off.
third.
She's never helpful when I need her.
I'm sure she's helpful.
To you, maybe. You make her call her God and Daddy. She's already your servant. So
I don't make her. She asked me what I wanted to be called, so I told her.
Oh, you gave her a little direction.
She asked for some direction.
See?
All
That
right.
sound like some Daddy Dom shit.
I mean,
That sound about right.
Yeah.
I don't understand what you're talking about. I just came here to talk about the news,
Came here to do some
And
potting.
some-
I understand.
some issues. Just do some potting. I'm just here to do some potting
potting.
and have a good time. And you over there trying to be Harvey Weinstein and shit.
It's not my fault. Whatever that is with the 20% ABCs.
The 20% ABCs. You right.
All right.
That's what's in the air.
Yep.
20% ABCs. She's fucked about the 20% ABCs.
All right.
ABCs.
We out here.
But anyway, we gonna go to the newsman who's out in the field, who's been in the field all day, getting this news first
I really
hand,
have,
second
man.
hand,
Like,
third
I
hand.
sat here on my phone for a good 2.5 hours.
We was over here.
Just read. No, this is before all this.
Oh.
I was just sitting around like, this article was so long. I'm not even gonna talk about it. That's the worst part. But so let's start with some world news first. Yeah, world news. So Pope Benedict decided he's gonna come out from
Former
hiding.
Pope.
You said
You
what?
not the Pope anymore?
No.
He's the
Oh.
former Pope.
Yeah, he's a former Pope.
Wait a minute.
But I mean, he still has the Pope title, like president. President still has the president title,
Oh,
even
okay.
after not being a president. So like he gave over his position to Pope Francis in 2013 and just disappeared from the public light. And he's now decided to reappear, and he dropped a 6,000 word document talking about sexual abuse within like the Catholic Church and all that whatnot. And basically, what it was him saying that it's more or less the absence of God in the West that's caused this in a sense. Because like during the 60s, heavily in the 70s, it kind of calmed down in the 80s. Like sex was like empowered and whatnot. And apparently also back then there was a
Move to a more secular West.
Yeah, and like it was a movement to legalize sex with minors back then also during the like 70s. And that's why he's like saying that it's more or less the absence of God and whatnot and the allowance of sexual freedom that caused this sexual abuse within the church. Pope Francis, on the other hand, says that it's due to the hierarchy within the church and the abuse of power that causes the, you know,
The adoration for the
yeah,
hierarchy.
essentially. So, I read two different articles, one from each side, like point of view. From Benedict's point of view, he sees it as him coming out and supporting Francis in a sense because it's helping him in his like mind, I guess. Let me pull up a direct quote. I don't want to misquote anything.
I was gonna say, because I don't understand how you helping. He said them believing in the hierarchy and having such adoration for their power and turning a blind eye to shit is how this keeps happening. And Benedict is like, nah, them 60s, you guys opening up them gay and them rights. I don't know. Seems like that's where it came from to me.
Has something to do
Okay,
with it.
so this like
but,
okay, so this is what Benedict wrote. Exactly. Among his claims, Benedict wrote that the sexual revolution deemed pedophilia as allowed and appropriate, and that the Landmark Society protests of 1968 for all-out sexual freedom as well as sex education for young children and nudity in advertising prompted a mental collapse that linked to a propensity for violence. That is why sex films were no longer allowed on airplanes, he wrote to illustrate his point, because violence would break out among the small community passengers.
But they didn't pass it. Like, there's no like naked children in ads and shit.
No.
So
But
I'm like,
no, he's talking about like back then, I guess during that time.
there was naked children in ads back then.
Damn, was
I
it?
hope not.
That's wild.
No,
Right.
it was
That's so wild.
Scary.
Teen pedophilia landmark, young children, nudity. No, it's not naked children. It's just nudity in advertising. Because it was sex education for young children, and nudity in advertising.
So he doesn't want children to be educated on.
Yeah, all that. Because I mean, like church,
Okay, that's
like
completely
looking at
different
it.
than what I thought. I thought he wanted like naked children in the
No,
magazine.
no, no,
I was
no,
like,
no, no, no,
that's
no,
wild.
no, 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 no.
What the fuck was happening in the
Crossing the
60s?
fucking line.
Yeah, I was like, I was so.
Okay, so like on Francis'
Now I
side, it's like Francis who,
That's the current pope, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Francois.
Where's it at?
Young Francois.
Francois out here
Francois.
kicking niggas out there.
Yo, that's gonna be
church.
Marcus's fucking name for his character that I'm writing. Lagique Francois.
What?
Hey.
So,
Yo,
Okay,
That bitch
so
swagging.
but he's like, what is happening?
Hello, my love.
Pope
I'm
Francis
sorry.
basically blames it, like I said, on systematic abuse of power and an unhealthy adoration of authority within the church's hierarchy for crisis.
Mhm.
Like essentially, when it first started, like 20 years ago,
Mhm.
they took over in the law, like the law that governs over that and that protects them of their rights was so biased to them that it protected them no matter what, to the point that they
Right.
couldn't even be prosecuted. And basically that's why the cover-ups came in and all that whatnot.
Okay.
And basically at the end of the day, Francis is talking about how like the cover-ups were like the issue and whatnot, and not holding people responsible for the situation, like the bishops that knew about it, and also the I don't remember that position.
Cardinal
Maybe it's the
or
cardinal.
archbishop?
I know it might
He
be
took somebody's
archbishop.
hat and threw it on the ground, tapped ass on that bitch, and was like, "Get out." You get out of
But at the same time, like Pope Francis
Get
is
out of
also
here.
like considered the radical pope. He's
get
the pope
outta
that
here.
He's a liberal pope.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
a
the ones
Get outta
progressive.
here.
like a lot of like they called for
Progressive
his
Progressive pope.
him to step down like last year
Mhm.
because
I was about to say some crazy
they
shit.
accused him of like hiding and keeping secrets of gay sect within the Catholic Church or like homosexual groups within the Catholic Church.
They accused him of keeping it.
Yeah, like keeping it a secret and like allowing it to be a thing within the Catholic
Mm.
Church.
That's what happens when you're progressive.
So yeah, it's like I started reading that today. I'm like, wow, the whole Catholic Church is at war right now. This is quite interesting. And they said like allowing two popes to be like this close to each other in like succession
Mm-hmm.
makes it so like it's going to lead to a downfall of like what's going on in their standards and everything because they're going to clash on opinions. Even though like Benedict promised to stay out of it, right now he's stepping into it and whatnot. So.
I think because people actually think like the Pope is like the closest thing to God, that I think was it Francis, right? That was his argument, that they turn it a blind eye because of how much power they have. And I think people view the Pope like, oh, he's the closest thing to God, so he literally can be untouchable. We have no tangible, no physical representation of it. So I think the Pope represents that. And so when they was letting these people get away with all that shit, that's why. So I can kind of agree with him, but I think they was always doing that decrepit ass shit with kids, women, men, whatever the fuck they wanted to do, they could get away with for I don't know how many years. So I guess the other guy's position to me is kind of sort of invalid because if you read up on it, like they've been doing that shit for thousands of years, or whenever hundreds or ever how long they've ever been in power. So it's really not nothing new. Maybe he didn't see it, or maybe he chose to turn a blind eye to it when he was a pope. But
I don't even understand why they saying anything about it at this point. I mean,
right,
it's something just like you said. We always knew that was going on, but why now you decide to speak on it and say some bullshit at that?
He stepped out and he felt like he was assisting in the situation with Francis.
No, he was like Francis got it wrong. It's this other shit that don't make no sense.
Yeah, like it's more or less people that have a problem with it.
That's a lot of words.
It's the issue of like trying to save or put this
6,000
off on the
words.
devil, or it's the devil's fault, or it's like putting like a religious base behind it instead of like people taking responsibility for their actions.
I think that's what that pope is trying to achieve overall. Is to like stop trying to blame God and the devil and really look at yourself.
Yo, I saw something like that too. Somebody was saying that a lot of religions give people a way to escape their own personal shit.
Yeah, it's the devil's fault. The devil working on me today, y'all. No, you just have like really shitty communication skills. You let people do shitty things to you.
No,
and you do shitty things to people.
like a couple months ago, and they were talking about this priest who got away with not priest, he was a preacher, got away with cheating on his wife, and she was essentially like she was right there by his side. She blaming the devil for him cheating on her and all this extra shit, and I'm like, wow, all right.
The wife was blaming the devil.
Yeah,
for
she
him
said
cheating
it.
on
Yeah,
her.
she was like, it's not his fault. It's the devil's fault. The devil got into him. It made him cheat on me and all this other stuff. And I'm like, wow,
That's
really?
crazy. That's
Okay, I
crazy.
mean, you got faith, all right? That's faith right there.
That's wild.
Right.
That's wild.
What were y'all talking about? How am I weird?
I'm talking to Marcus and I'm laughing at your ass too.
I apologize.
Like the name
No,
brand
we was
was gonna
talking
make it better. These fucking crackers.
Marcus, what was we talking about?
The fucking pope.
No,
The lady that.
Oh wait.
Oh, you was talking about the chick that blamed the
blamed
devil
Mhm.
for her
For her
husband
man
cheating
cheating
on
on
her. I mean, that was what happened. Devil hopped in his body,
That's
fucked a couple
wild.
chicks, and hopped right back out. I'm like, I'm
wild
out of
that she
here.
would even think like that.
That's what happens.
Hey,
Oh.
like I said, that's faith
It's
right
true.
there, man. She got all the faith in the world with that one.
She got to. It's either have faith in that and that it wasn't someone that said that they love you and care about you, really don't love you and don't care about you and don't give a shit about you and do some disrespectful shit and then come and lay down with you. Or you could believe that this nigga was possessed and taken over by the devil and the devil made him do it.
I actually been grappling with that.
That's a lot easier.
Like, the question I was thinking about was, do you think it's better to believe in something no matter what it is? Like, you can say you believe in the God, universe, whatever you want to call it, rather than just
Cocaine.
like people out here like
That
the whole gender, like there's 15 genders, you can do whatever you want, you can be whatever you want, you can basically not have an
Sapiosexual.
identity and just keep this kind of like there's just no direction really. Which one you think, like, do you think there's one's necessarily better, or
I feel like that's kind of like part of one of the questions, so I guess we can go into that too.
oh,
But all right.
I mean, save it.
No, it's fine. We already here
We
now.
was already talking about God and shit, so I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, because the question was like, do we think that people live aware or like go through life aware of ignorance and just like living in it, or do you think people are fully oblivious of the ignorance and are living that way with like blinders on not seeing it, or do you think people recognize it, and just choose to live in it? And I feel like that kind of goes with like what you were saying with people choosing like to have an identity or to just be like, I'm just whatever and doing whatever.
from what I see, I think it's the first one that you said. People see a lot of ignorant shit going on, but chose to be oblivious to it. It's just so much easier that way. And honestly, we might just be conditioned that way. I'm gonna say that shit changed. I'm gonna say that at one point we were really like, if we saw something wrong, or maybe not. I'm thinking of like things like the French Revolution, just for an example. Like when they finally got tired of the Queen's bullshit, they decided to turn on her. I don't know how long, how many years that was happening before they were like, listen, bitch, you're gonna eat this cake tonight.
Right. Talking about some
How
nothing.
long
What?
did that take before they actually revolted on that stuff? So I'm wondering if it's something that you train to do, to just look around. Another example I have is like when we look at futuristic, like apocalyptic movie, or that episode of Black Mirror with the ratings and shit like that. Nigga, that shit happens every day, but we talk ourselves out of it because it's like, oh, well, at least it's not that bad. No, that's like a dramatized version of what's going on.
And for some people, they really
That's
are
what
trying,
that's
you know,
yeah.
them little likes and stuff.
They would
You're
literally
exactly
go
right
out
about that.
they would literally go downhill if they didn't get enough likes or whatever, just some admiration in everyday life.
Shit, did y'all see how people was acting when Instagram went down?
Yeah.
I was like, that was like a breath of fresh air. I'm like,
Niggas was
shit.
tripping.
People lost their shit though.
Completely tripping. You know what the crazy shit is? I didn't even know.
I knew
I didn't
it
either.
wasn't even a big deal because what's the name? I said something. I was at work.
I don't be on any, unless I have to be on there. I don't be on social media for real. So
yeah,
Scrolling.
it's just, I would say it was like an inconvenience, like,
But that's all it was. Like, yeah, well,
because I'm so habit used to just hitting it, and like you said, it's like a weird, like smoking a cigarette. It's just a habit. Like,
yeah, but for
do you think that's good for y'all
what?
to have that habit or like that addiction to social media?
No, I unplug from it every once in a while just to kind of reset myself. But it's not like a good
No,
thing.
it'd be a
to have.
terrible thing.
Yeah, it's
People
not
really
like a
addicted
good
to
thing
it.
to have. Like, this shit just distracts me from. It makes me so fucking lazy. Could be doing like 15 billion things, but for some reason, this tiny fucking thing with lights is just like,
Hey,
I'd
man,
rather
it
do
lost for
that.
like 10 minutes. I'm like,
Seeing the
damn, I was
same
supposed to be
shit.
doing something.
Same
Yeah,
memes.
same shit. Yep, same memes.
But yeah, no, I think we choose to be oblivious. It's just so much easier. So you don't
Oh,
have to
definitely.
deal with other people's bullshit.
Mhm.
You don't have to. You can only worry about your small secular world, which is already enough. Why would I want to take somebody else's stuff?
I think people choose to be oblivious so they don't have to deal with their own bullshit. Most people like to remain unaware of their own failings or their own shortcomings and pretend or place blame on circumstance, situation, and other people, and never really looked to be like, all right, well, yeah, that was a fucked up situation, or they did some shady things, but how did my actions get me to this point? How did
Yeah.
my actions contribute to this?
I had the same idea about how people shit on rich people all the time. Like they really think that rich people should pay more taxes because they earn more. I don't understand the logic in that. But like people really shit on rich people just because they believe that they're more privileged or whatever. I don't know how people acquired their wealth, but people generally are just jealous and like hateful towards rich people. And they don't really stand to think. I'm not saying like if you're homeless that you should get up and pull yourself by the bootstraps. Like, nah, if you're homeless, I'm sorry. You definitely can choose to turn it around if you wanted to, but I'm not gonna look down
Not
at a homeless
necessarily.
person.
There's a lot of like barriers when you're
I
homeless.
know a lot of them have
Mhm.
mental health issues.
Not even that.
Not even
Just
that.
if you are homeless, you don't have an address where they can send your information to, so it's hard to get employment. You don't have a stable phone for employers to call you on, so it's very hard to secure a job because you don't have any of the basic things that you need to just engage with the world.
It's hard, but it's not impossible to bring yourself out of that.
Yeah, but if you don't have assistance, it damn near is.
Homeless person can find a little under the table job.
Yeah,
They
like
got
you,
like a
it's
little
so
hobby
many.
or
Yeah,
something like
I'm
that.
not
I
gonna
know
say
one
it's not easy,
that
but you
do
can get out of
cars.
poverty. You can get out of homelessness. You just have to make the decision. Like I'm not gonna be homeless anymore. Just
I'm
like
not
I
saying this is
choose.
impossible, but I'm saying that
It's
Majority of
hard.
the
it's probably
times.
better to have assistance than to just be like, they're homeless, fuck them, because realistically,
No, I'm not saying fuck a homeless person. That no, no. Homeless people, that's a very fucked up situation to be in. You know what I'm saying? And I donate every chance that I get. All my toys and all my extra clothes, I donate them to a church. There's not. I'm saying, but if you do choose, you will get. You have to have determination to get out of that shit. It's not impossible. There are barriers, of course, like losing weight. Nigga, that shit. I just ate 5 pounds worth of dollar snacks. And then looked at my stomach like, why are you like this? But it's damn sure not a easy situation. But I do see people like blaming rich people for you must be greedy and you're hoarding all the wealth. You have to stop blaming rich people for your bullshit, man. That's just one of the examples I saw of that. What you were talking about.
I mean, but I can see blaming like rich people for some of this shit. Like, why don't you think they should pay higher taxes?
Because that's their money. When you get rich and just if somebody has more of a plot of land, right? You have a certain plot of land. You have this much plot of land, and then somebody has this much plot of land. They looking at you like, well, you should just give me some of yours. For what? Just because. But it's my land. I really don't want to give it to you. You really didn't earn this plot of land. You weren't given this plot of land if that was happening to me.
And see, I get that.
No, you're taking all the space. Well, why don't you just work to make your space bigger if that's what you want?
See,
No, I think I should just take some of yours.
I can understand that principle if you do it for that 1-to-1,
Mhm.
but if you do it on a larger scale, it's like, yeah, we keep the resources, and then if we have a vast majority of the resources, then they're not infinite, so someone's losing out on the resources. And so that puts them into economic situations and environments that creates crime, poverty, and a host of other issues that we could generally avoid if we, took care of our less educated, less fortunate, and less affluent people.
All right. Let's say, I don't know, we all know a ratchet cousin.
Uh-huh.
My motherfucking auntie is a crackhead. I'm not giving this bitch a whole house. I love her to death. I'll give her a small apartment somewhere and maybe pay off the rent for 3
No, but
years.
I feel like,
But I'm not giving her a whole house.
but I
She
feel like
wouldn't know what
people
to do
who
with it.
are like that should be placed into. I feel like there should be like mental health communities. The fact that we just kind of like diagnose people with mental health and just be like, yeah, but go back out on the street and deal with that yourself. That's crazy.
I think that's a good
Like, but if you set up
mental
like
health community.
areas where there's
Mhm.
therapists and people that can engage,
Mhm.
you create jobs, and then you also give them an area where they can be and interact and develop skills, but also away from the rest of society where it's not that, I guess, that chaos that happens usually when they clash. But I just think that there's a better way that if, and I don't necessarily think that higher taxes is the answer. Maybe letting us dictate where our taxes go
That would be
instead
better.
of making it
Yeah, I
so
would agree with that.
ambiguous.
That's definitely better.
I mean, I'm saying like if you're gonna take my money, at least let me decide where it's gonna go. Right.
Instead of shit going to
But realistically, y'all just take that shit and do whatever the fuck.
But I feel like if I make
we need receipts.
30 billion, well, if I make probably 10 million a year,
Hmm.
I can probably be cool off of 5.5. That's 45% in taxes. I'm really not missing out. What meal am I missing at that point?
You not, but
What am
you
I
would
not
still
able to
rather
do?
prefer to have 10 fucking million. Like at the end of the day, you're not gonna be like,
Not really.
you would you worked your ass off to get $10 million, and then somebody
I
was just
don't
like
care about money.
arbitrarily give me 5 million. You'd be like,
Like I said,
oh,
but
okay,
I
everything's
would like
fine.
to be able to
No.
dictate where it goes.
Because I don't do that shit every week. I'm not looking like, oh, everything's great that they took damn near $100 of the shit that I worked. Or
I
sat
don't
here
e-
and just look mindlessly
honestly,
at this computer for.
I don't
I'm
even
not
look at
happy at
taxes
that.
like that. I don't care. Like
I'm not
but
happy.
I
I'm not
don't-
saying I'm like,
I don't look at
outraged.
money like that though. For me, it's
I'm
like
damn sure not feeling good about
money's
it.
only for me to be able to do what I want to do.
Mhm.
And so, as long as I can still achieve and exercise a full realm of control, then I'm not really worried about like the number that it is, because that's just an arbitrary number that's not really doing anything. It can just sit there.
Right.
And so, as long as it doesn't like really affect like how I move, behave, and operate, then I'm not really tripping. And so yeah, 10 is nice, but 5 is not go in any way hinder me from doing what I need to do.
No.
And so that's what I
Boundaries.
guess that's how I look at it. It's like, yeah, it's cool. It'd be nice to have and just say I have it in the bank, but for what? For real? Just
Because
say
you
that I have
earned it. Like you earned your $10 million. It's yours. Like you entitled to all of it.
Yeah, but you're also in a social agreement with the rest of the country because you live here.
Yeah, you ain't got to be happy with the agreement that you know. That's all I'm saying. Like you don't have
But I
to be
just-
happy with that.
But I also feel like that's why you earned it, but you also are entitled to pay a portion of it because you decided that you want to live here. Just places you could go to Texas. There's no state tax in Texas. Very liberal on taxes, actually.
What were we talking about?
I mean,
This is
essentially,
the topic.
At the end of the day, it's just like it's your price of living here.
No, we was talking about
Where did we go?
people being aware and unaware, and so then me and her got into like a conversation about like her saying, well, she said something about poor people that I took offense to.
Yeah.
Cause I was like, oh, that sounds like you shitting on poor people, and I was like, I don't think that's a vibe. And then you're like, well, I'm not shitting on poor people, so then we had a conversation.
Okay, so yeah, I feel like people are aware. Like I've been in a couple situations where like I've known people that just blatantly ignore shit because
He hit
like
Alicia with a lighter
like
in her head.
don't get me wrong, they have a
Okay.
reason for doing
I'm
so.
glad you said it's
Even though
okay.
the reason might not valid, like be valid to everyone else. To them, it's enough. Like I know a few black people that are just like completely like
You said it like the brand names would make it better. So
like they come from like a hood background or like
I apologize. So I guess I should explain what's happening because everybody else got quiet. And I just started laughing. So we have these crackers here, and they real buttery adjacent, and so I thought that it might be better if you added some peanut butter on them, and that clearly was a mistake by the faces that the other people are making. Did you want something to wash your mouth? We got Kool-Aid over here.
you got some bleach, motherfucker. This should need a whole reset.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Just eat the peanut butter by itself. Peanut butter's delicious.
Peanut butter is delicious.
I tried.
yeah. So like I was saying though,
I like when he's like, all right, you niggas is done. I'm gonna go back to talking now.
like I'm like and I even like hood background. Let's say like from poverty and stuff like that, and like they strove and they worked and they got themselves up out the situation, right? And like they would blatantly ignore just anything from that situation. Like anything that might remind them of that, anything like that, they just act like it doesn't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it was a negative memory or something negative came from that as a result of the family that they were in before, they got up out of it. So I definitely believe people choose to be ignorant of things. Just because, like you said, it makes life easier. They don't have to deal with certain stuff. And even to his point, like they don't have to deal with their own shit. So
Right.
people definitely be ignoring shit. Now there are people out there that are just ignorant, just
Yes.
flat out just ignorant to the world. They live in their own little bubble, and their bubble is the world. So that's the thing. But I feel like most people are just ignoring it.
They shouldn't choose to be ignorant.
Well, they shouldn't.
It's
No,
bad.
they
They
shouldn't.
do.
I don't know why.
Some people don't want more.
I mean, we'll talk about it. I feel like that's the issue within like our community alone, but that's another topic for another day.
I mean, no, let's get into it.
Well, for the exact point I just made, like I feel like that's a great divide within Black people alone too, because you have Black people that have had success and they succeed and they move forward, and they just join the upper ranks of like like the upper class, and they forget about where they came from, everybody behind them, and then they also like hell. Some of them just look down on other Black people because they don't have it, and look at them like they're beneath them or something of the sort. I feel like that's a issue within the Black community. Like I said, I've seen it happen in the sense where it's like, ooh, I don't want to associate with them because they from here. Like you don't know that person. That person be a cool ass person. You just push them to the side because of where they're from or what they look like, or things of the sense.
Well, what would you say to somebody like, all right, say you make it to the top, right? And you hanging around somebody that necessarily didn't want to go there. Like you said, they just ignorant. Not that they just choosing to be, they just not. Like, somebody put it in a way where if I need to go, if I want to go have dinner at, what's JG's club called? 40/40 Club, right? And then I bring you, and constantly every time I'm bringing you, you're not really bringing nothing new to the table. Not saying nothing new. You're not really elevating yourself. I always got to pay for you. You just basically living off of me. What would you say about somebody like they in that same space, and because you up here and they down here, you now as the person up here, you can choose to be brought down here on their level and go back, and you can potentially lose it all. But this person's vibe is not the same as your vibe, so it's gonna be constantly trying to bring you back down to what you were. And so if you choose to stay away from that so you can stay at this level because you believe that being at that level would bring you back down to something that you gave effort or tried really hard to separate yourself from. Because I've heard
like
that's the reason why some people wouldn't go back.
Yeah, you weak.
Yeah, I understand that. At the same time, like you gotta try to like for those people that you believe are like that are ignorant to the sense or things that matter, like even going backwards, I feel like you can go backwards and try to educate them, try to pull them forward, try to change their mindset. Because at the end of the day, like I'm saying, this whole point was for unity, and that's a divide. It's a clear divide, and we won't have our unity because then it's like, all right, so you have these people that are like that, like people that are just ignorant to like general life, right? But then you had the people that made it out, the people that have a different mindset, look at the world differently. So if you come back and try to educate, put that back in, and pull everybody together, we can actually have that talk about Black agenda. We can actually have that because like you're not going to be able to do it on the divide because these people don't know anything for real. They don't know. They don't have that support. They don't have that knowledge, but you do.
I mean, I don't feel like you have to do that. I feel like if you fuck with somebody that you don't necessarily feel like adds anything to your life, then you gotta look at, am I looking for them to add things to my life, or do I just enjoy them as a person? If you just enjoy them as a person and you're more affluent than them, then bite the bullet and just pay for the things, because realistically you enjoy their personality and you probably can't afford to, and you're probably not doing it all the time. You're doing it when you want to, so you understand that they're not in the same position as you. And so if y'all are going to do the things that you like doing and something that you're now accustomed to doing because you're in a new position in life, then it's kind of shitty of you to hold them to a standard like, oh, well, you're not here, especially if they're happy with where they're at. Like, you could be like, oh, they're ignorant or they don't know more about the world, but they could be like having a, or they could have a good life or be completely content with where they're at. And just because you've elevated, you feel like either you have to shit on them to bring them because they aren't moving up, or distance yourself because you're like, oh, well, you don't want to do these things. And so I think that you don't necessarily have to like distance yourself. So I feel like people who kind of say that is a cop out where you don't really want to be around them, and that's fine as well. Like, you don't have to be like, I'm completely understand that, but I feel like you shouldn't lie. Just be like, I don't want to be around y'all. Like, you can't be like, nah, I'm not gonna be around y'all, but I really want to be. Y'all just gotta be like where I'm at.
No, that's like
So
having
no, you don't
that's
want
like
to be
having
around
your
them.
cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Like, you can't like
I want to
you
be
be like,
around
I don't
y'all,
want
but I
to be
want
around
y'all to
y'all.
be
You can't be mad at them for being
where I
mad at
want
you.
you.
Like, it just
And
is
I
what it
think
is.
both of y'all got really good points with that because I can agree with you. I've been in that exact situation, but also if you are in that situation, I think that you should encourage whoever you with to want to be on a higher level.
I mean, like, and
Yeah.
you
Because
like
you
speak
don't
to that
just want
point.
anybody to be, in the same space.
Like,
So.
it's to the ooh, I just lost the whole point. It was something about Killer Mike.
I don't know where you're going with that with Killer Mike.
All I said was that you should encourage the person that you're with to be on a higher level.
No, it was off the point he was making.
Oh,
I was
shit.
trying to wait for him to get done.
Oh.
That's it. Yeah.
Well,
What about being like uh, bringing people who aren't necessarily on your level, but you still want to fuck with them to the spaces that you're involved in, showing them something different. Like,
I mean, that's possible because he did that with Sleepy,
yeah,
essentially.
like,
Oh, it was to the point of like him talking about, it was him in the Breakfast Club interview. He's talking about like how you got like older people, like your parents and everything, like from the South and whatnot. Like, their life where they are, they're comfortable. They never strove to be famous and rich and have all this money. They just always strove to be comfortable. Yeah.
and that's what they wanted. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being comfortable. Like, a lot of people should have just in general choose comfort over like taking risk and shit. Comfort is taking a job and taking a paycheck. Like, that makes you comfort. A lot of people find comfort in the I got a stable 9 to 5. I know where my checks are coming from. I know what my paycheck. I know what my things look like. I know how my bills are getting paid. That's the level of comfort. So I feel like people want comfort, and we shouldn't judge people for what they find comfort in. As long as it's not like crazy shit. Like, you can't be out here killing people and be like, oh, that made me happy.
No, that's crazy.
Like, oh, he one of those crazies. Got to lock you up.
But even then, like, if I'm hanging around, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of a situation. Like, I'm not gonna shit on nobody for being a comfortable person, but you comfortable. I'm generally not comfortable with where I am at in my life, only because I want to be better. Like, I have a certain vision that I want in my life, and I'm not gonna shit on nobody, especially if you're not shitty towards me. I'm not gonna shit on you, but I'm also not gonna spend as much time as I once was with you because you comfortable. You're not inspiring me to do anything great because you fucking comfortable. And I feel like if you want to do something great with your life, you could ask me for help, and I'm gonna give it to you, and I'm gonna give you the resources that I have if you truly really want it. You got to put in the work in, but I'm not gonna work for you. If I got the resources, I'm not gonna do the work for you. You have to show me that you really want it, and then I'll give you the resources so you can work for it towards yourself. If you just comfortable and you alright with your life and you ain't shit on me, all right, cool. But we not gonna spend as much time as we have. You just can't. If you working towards a $10 million a year successful company.
But it's not about spending as much time. It's about not shitting on them when you do spend time with them.
No, I don't condemn you being like, man, fuck you, little broke ass nigga.
I'm not saying like you, but I
no,
just
I don't want any of that. But if they were looking at you like, fuck you, you old bougie ass motherfucker, what are you gonna say to that? You gonna be like, oh, well, I understand. I understand. You're just an ignorant person.
Well, those are people that aren't your friend and that they just want to hold you down, so you don't associate with them either. Like, I feel like it goes both ways. Like, while I'm elevated, I can't shit on you, but if you comfortable where you at, you can't shit on me because I wasn't comfortable there and I want to move to something that made me more comfortable.
Yeah.
Our comfort levels look different, like, so you can't shit on me. So as long as you're not shitting on me, I'm not gonna shit on you. And so that's how I look at it. It's like it's a mutual respect thing. Like you cool with me being me and doing the things I got to do to get where I want to go, and I'm cool with you being you and you doing the things that you got to do. You got to get up at 6:30 so you can take your kids to school, and so you can be to work at 9, and so you can get off late at 6:30, and hopefully get some vacation time, and get to go on a little vacation once a year.
Right.
That's what you want, but that makes you happy. That's comfortable. Your kids are in a good school. You got a house. You got a backyard. Shit is cool for you for real. So I can't shit on that for real. That's comfortable.
I wouldn't shit
That's
on
the
nobody's
American dream for real.
lifestyle. I'm not shitting on nobody's lifestyle. I'm shitting on somebody's attitude.
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying if you have a shitty attitude, that's got to go.
Yeah, or even if you have a comfortable attitude, if you're trying to make $10 million a year, you're not gonna hang around the same people because you know $10 million a year people, or hopefully $20 million or $5 million or whatever, because they chose, and you trying to be in that same vibration. Somebody that's comfortable is not in the same vibe as you, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that they're going to be comfortable. That's it. Then that's what you explain. That 9 to 5 is it for them. They're not gonna strive to be better. They damn sure not. Hopefully, they wouldn't do any worse. But you can't say that you're gonna stay in the same vibration as that. You can't. Not just on the physical term, how much work you have to put in to move yourself away from that comfortable situation. It's hard enough, and you probably not even gonna relate on the same shit. Nigga, I gotta get up and answer my door. Oh, I can just do that shit from my phone, homie. I don't know about none of them struggles about walking to a door anymore. Like just things like that. Like
But,
you could definitely relate about the old shit that you were
Once
doing,
upon a time, it was something I did though. So
and
it's
that's
not
the
like I was
only thing
lost
you
to
can
it.
relate to them with. My ex has this friend.
I don't think so.
My ex has this friend where they grew up together, and from about, I'm gonna say from when he was like 14 or 12 until the present. But because my ex was in and out of jail a lot, they only had certain moments in time where they were spending with each other. So every time that they would hang out, they would only reminisce about these small moments with each other. And this time we were married. My ex has a family. This dude had kids with like 2 different baby moms. Nothing wrong with that if you have multiple children, whatever, different, all that stuff. But I'm just saying they had different spaces in his life. He was still trying to get it together while my ex had something at least tangible. He had some sort of stability, and he wasn't. So they couldn't even relate on certain things. Like, damn, my wife is having this issue, or I'm having this issue with whatever. This nigga was still talking about some shit they did when they was 14. He could not move out of that space, and that's all they had to relate. That's all the reminiscing they could do in that time because they wasn't on the same
I don't
vibe.
think that's about being comfortable. I think that's about being stagnant. So I think you have a problem with people choosing to be stagnant. So because he chose to stay,
But comfort is stagnant, like you
Not
said. What was
necessarily.
changing between the 9 to 5?
But that's not stagnation. If you get to enjoy your life, you get to go to your kids' games, you get to put them in the after school programs and things like that. What's wrong with it? That's not stagnation.
But it's the same thing.
That doesn't make it stagnation. You still
Yeah, it
progress.
is stagnant. There's nothing moving about it unless he chose to say,
No,
"Hey, I'm going to business or whatever."
He was being stagnant, but doing that's not stagnant. Your children are progressing. You're investing into something. It's not necessarily you changing your life, but you are investing into something over time. You're investing into your stability, so you're still moving forward. So now I would say stagnation is you saying, "Shit, I'm in this position. I want to be in that position." And you staying and doing the exact same thing and not doing shit about it to get to that position. That's when that is no longer comfort because you're not comfortable where you at. You want to be somewhere different, but you're not doing shit to change it. You stagnant. You just floating in the water, wishing you was in a fucking pond, and you in a fucking puddle. Like I feel like I feel like it's a mindset. Like if you're, I feel like the guy that you were talking about, he seems like he was stuck in his yesteryears where things were a lot more fun,
right,
and a lot better, and he didn't really want to move forward. So that's stagnation because he's not comfortable where he at, and where he trying to go is backwards. You can't get backwards,
Oh, no, that's not a thing.
and so he not looking to move forward. So yeah, that's hella stagnant. He not comfortable where he at though. He always trying to talk about yesteryear though. People who are comfortable or talk about the shit that they kids, they talk about the present. People who are stagnant talk about the past. So I think that's what the difference
Like
is.
the way
Okay.
I look at it is,
And people who are driven talk
comfortable.
about the future.
Like you being comfortable, you like in your mind, you've made it. Like, not to, like, you made it to somewhere that you wanted to be. So, like you were saying, like, on kids, like, all right, I got my house, I got my wife, I got my kids, life is cool for me. I'm right here, I'm where I want to be. At that point forward, like you're saying, it's just like, at that, it's your kids for it. Like,
Mhm.
you made it to where you're going to be, and this is where you plan on. You good right here. You ain't got no worries. Everything's cool. Outside of whatever the hell your kids are doing. So, like, just being comfortable is just, like you said, it's a mindset. It's more or less about you feeling like you're where you want to be. And, like, I can understand your point, too. Because, like, I know hella people who are like, I can't stop. I got to keep going. Because, I mean, at that point, you're not comfortable where you at and you want more for your life. You feel like you deserve more, you need more. So you keep pushing, you keep moving. Some people get to a point and they're like, hey, I'm cool right here. Like, I don't need more. Life is all right.
Like, I don't understand being comfortable. That's why I keep quitting. I like to be in uncomfortable positions. I like that makes me work harder. That makes me go. So like I get what you're saying. Like, how can you want that? Because it doesn't make sense to me.
Mhm.
But I had to rationalize. All right. So what are the positives about this situation where someone could choose that over like always reaching that next level? Like, how could you not want that? And I had to sit back. Well, what if their next level is just something different? Their next level is I got the house, the wife, this, and then my kids are gonna go to college and they're gonna reach that new level. That's what their next level looks like. So if I look at it like that, they still on their own grind. It's just we in different races, and so I can respect that. Now, if you just sitting there talking about a race, you ain't doing shit. I gotta get the fuck away from you. You gotta go. I hate you. You're trash. Don't talk to me.
No, I
Don't
understand a
call
little
my
bit more.
phone.
You know, I
me.
explained it.
Don't
That
look
shit
at
was
me.
so bizarre to me. When I would watch them, I'm like, you notice he ain't got nothing new to say to you? It's just literally y'all niggas play NBA, fucking 2K, whatever, and this nigga talk about how when you was 14 and y'all fucked a bitch at the same time.
That's wild.
I'm like, that's cool, but you got a family now, nigga.
There's a whole ass
Can't
situation.
be talking
right
about
here.
old fucking trains no more. You know what I'm saying? It was something to watch.
That's crazy though.
Yeah, no, see, I
You
wouldn't.
guys be talking about the
That
same
sounds
shit.
terrible. Like I could
Yeah.
see, but I couldn't have that type of energy around me. Like we can't be like just reminiscing on the old shit. We got to be like talking about something new or progressive or
Yeah, my ex would try to talk about something new with him, and he would not. He would just nod his head
Yeah, see, that's
and just
backwards,
keep
man.
playing
You
the
can't do
fucking
that.
because like if
game.
you comfortable, like you
I was
got new shit to tell
confused.
me. Your kids is playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
You might
Right.
have got a promotion. Y'all took a trip somewhere. You want to show me some pictures. Like you got life events that you still want to share, so we can still like engage and relate on like a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
But if you talking about, man, you remember when I was 14? Not really. I done had like 80,000 experiences since then, my nigga. Like I don't know what you've been doing. You just sit in the house all day?
Right.
Are you working on anything? Because like
Nah,
if you sitting in the
I-
house and you working on shit, I feel that.
Yeah, now I
That's a
tried to.
grind.
I remember
Get
trying to
that.
rationalize it in my head, like, well, it's because I'm around and he doesn't want to say, you know what I'm saying, just regular nigga shit. But I'm
Mhm.
like, when he would come and tell me, he's like, no, he does that when you're not around. I was like, oh,
Oh, hell no.
it's not just me.
No, that shit irritating. Or like you had niggas that be like, oh, I got this. You come to somebody be like, oh yeah, I got this idea for this, and that. And they be like, that shit's stupid. Nigga, what?
Whoa.
Like,
Damn.
not even those words exactly. Be like,
Man,
why
fuck
you
all that
been like? What's the
bullshit.
point of that?
Fuck all that
Yeah.
bullshit.
Like my nigga, I'm trying to get us to the money.
Yeah.
And
Right.
you playing? What's wrong with you?
Working this job. Fuck.
Stupid as fuck.
Or even in that, here you go. Here's another one. Yeah, I got this job, man. We hiring, man. Like it's like I'm gonna put in an app. 2 weeks later, my nigga, you put in that app? No, bro, I forgot. I'm gonna put it in though.
I'm putting it in.
Oh shit.
My nigga, we
You
still
gonna put that
hiring,
app
you
in?
know. Oh yeah, I
I'm
forgot.
put in that app.
I'm gonna do that right now.
I don't think you're telling
Man,
the
I used to
truth.
know somebody
All right, my
that
nigga.
used
I'm
to
just gonna stop
lie.
saying shit now.
They
You don't
used to
want a
lie
job.
about putting in apps
You
every
don't.
day.
You just don't.
He's so live about putting an
Why?
application.
About putting in
Yeah, I put that in
He
vacation
did. He
last
used to
week.
just be out like just kicking it, and then just be like telling his girl that he was going to put in apps all day.
Why? Why? I got
That's
two
how much
problems. I
perplexed.
got like a couple problems with that. Like one,
You just put in the app, G.
First problem.
That nigga
Right,
don't want to
what
work.
did
if
put
you
that
ain't got no job,
That nigga don't want to work.
Right.
what is you doing? Like, if you're not applying, like I don't understand why you're not. But outside of that, why are you so afraid of your girl that you lying to her about going to apply for jobs?
That part. Cause
Like-
she holding that bitch down.
Right. She
Right,
got,
right,
got
right.
all of it. It's all
expecting
her.
you to Go get some money.
Nigga ain't got no job. He put in the apps.
Mhm.
Or she thought he was putting in the
Yep.
apps.
Waiting for her to come on so just borrow that
nigga was
$20.
looking for just
Right.
for-
Hey,
Still
baby,
real quick.
You got 20 on this blood.
That shit's crazy. I don't understand it. Like how you just be wandering around. Like,
Pick a Newport.
how you out kicking and you ain't got no money? How you
Right.
even comfortable?
What are you
Like I don't
doing?
feel comfortable as a man. Like if I ain't at least got a couple dollars.
Look,
in my
man, when
pocket
I ain't had
to
no
come
job,
out.
I'm saying that I was in the house. Don't ask me to do shit.
If you
Like,
don't
oh,
have
bro,
no
let's go do
job,
this. I ain't got no money.
Ain't right.
I'm broke.
working
Y'all
on
niggas
your
know I ain't
ass
got no
so
money.
we-
I
I
don't know why
don't
y'all ask me to do
exist.
shit.
job.
I'm like, come on, man, we gonna pay for you. Nah, I don't.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
good.
exist.
I'm
No,
alright.
I'm not a
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. There's one time these niggas literally had to drag me out the house.
Yeah, that shit is
like,
not
hey, you gotta come.
cool.
You gonna come on, man. I'm like, oh, all right, whatever. Ain't no money. We know. All right.
I don't want. Then even then, like if you pay for me and all that shit, it still doesn't feel 100% right.
No, I don't
Right.
like. I do not like people paying for nothing of mine.
No, that shit is like.
Pause.
I
got it.
paid for a Wendy. She was like, "Let me just cash app you." I'm like, "Chill, it's all right. You know, I'll take care of it." Are you sure? I'm positive, but I'm sorry. All right, I'm gonna give you some barbecue sauce. No, at least it's so cool. It's cool.
Man, that shit- I'm gonna pay you back somehow.
It's
like,
cool.
I got
was
you.
very thankful.
Yeah, she was. She
I
was
was
very
very
sweet about it. Like, thank you so much, young Saya. I really appreciate you doing this. You know, you didn't have to, right?
Because I do not be letting people pay for shit for real.
Why?
Why?
Yes.
I'm just not about that life. I'm cool.
No, I definitely had
I
an
would
issue
just
with
do
that.
it
Like,
myself. I don't need you
You brought
talking
that
about
shit up. Yeah,
nothing
yeah,
you
real
did.
quick.
Like,
Right.
It's
but you
that
feel me, like, this
vulnerability,
people, like,
yeah.
I don't need no
nothing that
problems.
you did.
See, I don't really like to ask people to pay for things. But if you tell me you're gonna pay for things, I don't care because you can't throw that in my face. I paid for this. You wanted to. I'm not one point when I was in line did I expect you to because I had money because I could pay for it. I didn't get in. I didn't get in line expecting you to pay for it, but you was like, "I paid." I was like, "Sure."
Now,
You
for me,
better than me.
receiving was like, I don't want you to see me as weak. I don't want you to owe me
Receiving.
anything. I did not. That feeling like,
Yeah, Ash used to be a dom. She wasn't about receiving.
you would know, wouldn't you, Dom Daddy?
A dom recognizes another dom.
Really not. I'm actually really pretty submissive, but
Nah, she used to be pagan.
definitely
You just talk about how you didn't like to receive nothing.
don't want to be given that either.
That's
That's not what I was talking about. All right.
That's not where I was going.
No.
Veered off the path.
That beam.
Oh shit.
Swerving on the interstate. Nigga just hit a left.
Here's where we are, and here's where you fucking took that shit. Let's bring
Yo.
it back.
I just was trying to,
Bring it back.
see if that's what your vibe. That's crazy. Like,
No.
that's a wild vibe, but I was just wondering. You seem wild, Ash. So, sometimes I just got to shoot out questions.
Sometimes you just want to gauge where I've been.
Yeah.
You've been pegging Ash.
Hey, I didn't ask you like that. I slipped it in nice and just, it was a nice segue into the question.
What question?
She was already answering some shit.
Exactly. No, I segued into my question. What can I talk
Oh.
about?
Oh,
What's your question?
okay.
Well, I'm pagan, clearly. What are you talking about? I'm mad that you high.
Oh.
Why you Ike me? What's up with you?
Why you like?
She's doing it for all of us. That's what
I am.
doing it for all of us in the room.
Shit.
Oh my goodness.
Go get back on topic, Ash, since you don't want to talk about the other topic.
What the fuck? Where are we?
I thought you were talking about the regular
No, I'm
topic.
not talking about pegging anymore.
No, not pagan. Oh my God. Not pagan. That's the topic you did want to talk
remember,
about.
What
The
are we
one-
talking about?
Like short term is gone. You gotta show it to them.
Oh, you
They don't
what
remember
you're
shit.
talking about?
Thank you, Marcus.
No.
At least Marcus remembered.
I'm sorry that I.
He's the
expected
real
y'all-
compassionate one.
We appreciate you.
I don't
Marcus
have empathy.
appreciation once again.
Yeah, Marcus appreciation moment.
Once
For
again.
keeping everything on track.
All right, so since we don't know where we at, I got some more news.
Okay, we just moving on.
I bet he's just like we will go to news.
Anywho.
All right, so our second news topic, an hour in to the podcast. But all right, go ahead. That's fine.
Shit.
All right, so Texas out here wilding again.
Chainsaw.
Might as well, shit, the way they acting. But nah, they put up a bill to persecute and allow the death penalty for women who get abortions. I mean, it's not going to pass, and everyone's against it, but they did it. They sure in hell did it.
They passed the law. Wait.
No.
what?
They
They
put
pushed it through.
No,
Okay.
they just put it up. It's like,
Okay.
yeah, like
They keep putting it up.
yeah, they keep putting it up.
It's not like this is the first time that they just keep doing it.
Yeah, it would like it would essentially
They don't want to
charge the woman
No,
with
that
homicide. It does not
I imagine I can understand that y'all don't want
exclude
to have this.
incest or rape.
So what don't you understand?
So no matter what, you get an abortion, you can be put up for the death penalty for homicide because homicide is punishable by death in
So fucking mad at
Texas.
you.
Now, here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Texas keep doing this. Even like anti-abortion, like supporters, do not support this.
Yeah, that's a little.
Yeah, they're like
extreme.
that's crazy. Like, why would we put the woman through more? Like that. That just doesn't even make sense.
It's always that gray line with like it's always super fucking blurry with abortion because me, like
they don't
I
care
mean,
about that.
hmm?
They don't care about rape or incest.
Yeah,
That shit is retarded.
it all falls under the same thing.
They
And this is the reason why though. There's like we don't care about that because realistically, it's still unfair to the unborn child.
What?
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean,
But I feel like with the one about so let me say, all right, moving. I know it's gonna sound crazy. Moving rape aside, because even in that, you can still have a perfectly healthy baby.
True.
If it's incest, why would you subject the unborn child to potentially mental illness and
Or
health
anything along
defects
those-
like
yeah.
that? That doesn't seem like you're choosing the best decision for that unborn child who didn't have a decision.
no,
So you know, that's probably a no go.
probably.
But that's the only one I'm. So I don't understand that. Like even if you're saying it's unfair to the child who could have a healthy life, incest doesn't promote healthy life.
It does.
It actually does the opposite. That's why it's,
illegal.
Well, is it? I don't know
Is
if it's
it illegal?
Like,
I don't
I was
think
gonna
it
say, I
is.
don't think it's illegal. Like I was gonna say, because I was
no,
about
it's
to say
not.
that.
Okay, all right, it's not illegal. It's just frowned
It's like a
upon.
taboo.
Yeah.
Right. Don't do
highly
that.
frowned
I'm mad
upon.
that you did that wave. Like, what was that? Is that the incest wave?
Incest wave, everybody. Don't drive on. You might end up with a retarded
Pope Benedict
child.
is like, hey, he said that's the reason. You better stop. 60s and 70s with that wavy shit. All right.
That wave.
Especially
Yeah,
in the 70s, because
that's wild.
that's when the sex kick was kicking.
That
But no, like essentially, it's Texas chill, man. Like,
Oh, why did you say you hated Ohio?
oh, because Ohio and fucking Idaho decided, oh,
Strongly
we
about
gonna
that shit.
consider it too. Ohio, I swear to God,
Oh, I didn't know they was considering that. I seen it was just
consider my
something.
foot in your ass. Y'all better chill. Goddamn, considering that shit. I'll fight y'all.
Is this what y'all want? Is this the place y'all call home?
I love Ohio. I don't give a fuck what crazy laws are passed. I'm always miss home, even if it's wild as fuck. But at the same time, like I wish a lot of women would just come to terms that, like, yeah, you are killing you're killing a child. Like that's
Not
what
really.
you're doing. Yeah, it's
Not
not
really.
about a sales thing. Like it's a life and you killing it. Now,
Not really.
can you choose to do that? You sure can. I don't give a fuck. I really don't give a fuck. You
Why do you
can
feel
have
like
a
it's a
baby
life?
or not. Because it's alive. It's alive. It's a life. It's not just
So
a clump of cells. If a clump of cells is put together, it's a life. Like a plant could be considered a clump of cells, but you still gotta feed it and nourish it. And if you don't, it dies. Just like you have to feed and nourish the child that's being conceived. Or if you don't, it dies. Or if you pull it out, you're killing
Yeah,
it.
but a plant dying and a clump of cells dying isn't the same as a baby
It's
dying.
still death, right? Is it not death?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
Do you call
All
it?
right.
Do you treat the death of a plant the same as you treat the death of a fucking person?
No, but it's the
Do
same
you treat
fucking
it the
thing.
same? No, it's not. If
Yeah,
you
it
don't
is.
treat it the same, then
It's
it's
death.
not.
You're dying.
Do you mourn plants when they die?
Yeah, I'd be like, damn, that fucking sucks, and
Nah.
I throw it away. That's
Exactly.
mourning to me. It's not the same level as mourning. Like if I start crying if my baby died, but it's still death. Like I said, grapple with the fact that you chose to do it. If you want to do
I
it,
don't think that it's
go
death.
ahead. But you're going to mourn your. There's a consequence to taking a life. Whether the females that they choose to interview don't want to acknowledge that, that's their prerogative. But they feel a certain way about killing a baby. Just like you said, if it's different, you're going to mourn the death of your baby. There's a consequence to that.
I think,
But that's what you
but
choose.
I don't think they're mourning the death of their baby. I think that they're mourning the idea of their baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're mourning the idea that they were going to be a mother, and now that they're not. They're not mourning the fucking abortion that they had, the little clump of cells. They're mourning the idea of, I had something inside me that was going to love, that was going to be a mother for. They're mourning.
Yeah, death
that,
of a life.
No,
right.
they're not
Yeah.
mourning the death. They're mourning what they would have been.
Okay,
so
potential
not,
life. Potential
but it's
life.
not about the death.
Yeah, it is.
No,
like
it's not.
it's about your part that
It's-
you played in it not coming to life.
Not really.
Oh yeah, it is.
Not. Well, maybe for you.
If you had to choose to get rid of your baby for whatever reason, you telling me you wouldn't feel a certain way? Either way, you had to get it, or I can't bring this rape baby or this incest baby in his life, or just because I made a mistake. You telling me you're gonna be real neutral about it, or just not be like, oh my god, that life that potentially could have happened. You're gonna feel fucking shitty about it, but you have to grapple with that fact, whatever your decision is.
I don't think that people always feel shitty about
And because they trying to level it down to like, oh, it's a clump of cells. You're trying to convince yourself of something that you clearly did. Just like people who don't want to pretend to be male or female, the same fucking thing. You're just denying the reality of what you're doing. You can do it. I don't care if you do it either way. But stop trying to make something that is not. You're killing a baby, you're killing a life, whether you call it clump of cells or whatever, is life. It started to grow and to mature because it can turn into something else. You can choose to say I'm gender binary fluid or whatever, but the fact remains that you was born with a penis. So just you're a fucking man or you're a fucking woman. Stop trying to relegate whatever you want your reality to be. Like this is what it is. And I feel like people need to.
Then why do you
get
get to
over
choose
it.
other people's realities? You were just trying to relegate your reality to other people, telling them that they can't choose their own because that's how you want to see things.
No, I don't care at the end of the day. Believe me, I'm not trying to convince nobody to convince her to not do anything. But let's just say what it is. Say what it is.
That right there is you telling them to say what it is trying to convince them to do something.
Okay. Then you don't have to follow that. You can literally choose to do whatever you want with your baby. Doesn't matter to me. But for people to just pretend like it's not something, it's just really retarded. But you can choose at the end of the day, like, get your abortion. You just got to deal with the consequences afterwards. That's all. That's how I really feel about it.
I just don't think that the consequences necessarily have to deal with death. Sometimes I feel like you are sad about the fact that you aren't something.
It's still a consequence.
That's true. I'm not saying that there's not consequences. I just don't think that it's life necessarily. That's like you killing something. I don't think it's necessarily like their issue.
Alright. Y'all got it all on now?
The one I was talking about, it says Ohio governor to sign a ban on abortion after the first detectable heartbeat. Do you know if that passes, how easily you could fuck up without even knowing that you're pregnant? If you were trying to get an abortion?
Yeah, it's
That was
crazy.
your plan? That is wild. That's wild.
I feel like people should stay out of the business of other people and their bodies.
That's how I feel. I feel like it shouldn't take this much to say what somebody can and can't do with their body. They should just have their own
Yeah, just
options.
let them do
whether
whatever they want to do. Like, why Why does it matter? It, it
It's not
literally could be a
affecting you.
non-issue if other people just stop caring about it.
Mhm.
Like it, let when they say, "I want to have an abortion," okay,
But
be safe.
Get right.
Yeah, like, see when you get back. I guess I don't know. Just or I want to be a woman. All right, they got pills for that. Like,
they got pills for that.
like I don't see how anything matters really.
It's just the society that we live in, though.
Like all those things are like constructs. So, like this is everybody has like too many emotions and feelings about other people's shit.
I can agree
It's
with
big
that.
business in that shit though. I figured it out. Like it's not really like I wish I thought it was some sort of agenda, but then I just realized like it's all a big money making scheme. Like eventually, what I think they're trying to say is like Medicaid is going to pay for like your transgender surgery and your medication and stuff like that. That just gives more money to whoever the fuck out there. I wish it was something like you know what I'm saying, like getting like gays and lesbians in the church and shit like that. I want to say like, oh, it's an agenda to make the frogs gay. No, it's probably just for them to get more money because people was leaving the church. It's just all a big money scheme. Like I understand now. Like I'm not gonna be emotional about it. Like the man's keeping you down. Like no, because like all right, say if your credit isn't good enough, you have to pay higher interest, meaning you're giving somebody more of your money. It's all the news. They do that shit for ratings. Like it's all a big money scheme. Like Planned Parenthood would be put out of business if they could not have the abortion. So it's just all a big money scheme. Like they don't really give a fuck about if you want to be a mom or not or whatever you're gonna do with your body. They just want your fucking ducats. Like I think that's what made me neutralize all of that in my mind. Like it's just for cash.
About money anyway.
Yeah. All the marketing, like we could say it's really sinister when they start marketing like apps and cell phones to tiny children. Just so there can be a buyer later on. Like it's
I mean, I don't. I feel like that's par for the course. Though America's a business,
yeah,
and it
We
has
are.
to
whole
be.
entire
Yeah.
thing's a business. So it's like, oh, all right then.
We've been in business for a while, so it's like, I guess I don't understand. Like, of course it's like this. Of course everything's for money. That's what everybody's trying to get. That's what every conversation boils down to.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if our entire country, which I feel like we're the youngest country for real. Well, like the youngest, like
Yeah. Other than the world powers, we are the youngest country.
Yeah.
We're only 200 something years old compared to England and like fucking Russia and like we
so I
young
feel
as
like
shit.
we're just really getting into developing our own culture, and I feel like
Our culture sucks.
We don't
I
have
mean-
a definitive culture. We just pull from all of
But
it.
that's because we're so
that's
young.
what our
I feel
country
like,
has always been. Though.
But what
like,
if that culture is our culture? Though? Think
But I feel
about
like-
it. Couldn't that be a culture?
but I feel like it's getting to the height, and I feel
Culture
like that's
vultures.
where
Yeah.
we're kind of like. I feel like that's what the struggle is now. Is where we're trying to like iron out what our actual culture is and who we are as a people.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why there's so many sides that are like, oh no, we're this way and we got to be inclusive of this, or oh no, we're this way and this house. I feel like it's everybody trying to make sure that they fit inside of what the American identity is.
I mean, essentially,
I
though,
just-
we became a giant ass melting pot. To be honest,
Yeah, that could be a culture. I think that could be like fashioned after a culture of other cultures, because it's really unique and there's nothing quite like it. Like, where else you gonna go in the world to find this shit? Like, we can definitely say like, do y'all identify with Africans or do y'all think we different?
American black people are completely different.
I was
from
about to
Africans.
say.
Right,
we're
that's the
different
whole
from
thing
them.
that we, you know what I'm saying? We pull from.
They don't even identify as like us as like.
Right.
like-
So it's our
it's not the
own
same thing to
unique,
them.
like a black American is way
Completely
different
different
than a
than an African.
Nigerian.
I agree.
So that's what I think makes America unique is because we pull from all the other shit like African braiding or whatever. Not saying that like we didn't have it already, but just pulling from all these different resources to make one conglomerate thing is our culture. So I do think we have an identity. I just think that people keep trying to tell us that like, oh no, you stole it from here, stole. Not really saying, well, why can't it just be like, oh,
That
this
our
is us?
identity
Yeah, it's
is
just
just
ours.
that.
Yeah.
A mixture.
Literally, our country is pieced together by buying pieces from other countries. Like,
That's the new culture. Ain't nobody doing it like us. The whole world mimics Black America, whether we want to admit that shit or not. it's just it is what it is. That's what we are. That's who we are. An amalgamation of things put together to create this one unique thing that everybody wants and that everybody want to market off and everybody want to be. It just is. There's really nothing. I don't see nothing wrong with what I'm saying, putting this stuff together. How else are you gonna learn and grow? You know, like the Maya civilization or whatever civilization, they had to change for better or for fucking worse, and they wasn't gonna get that. You can definitely say that you can stay in the same paradigm. Um, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a bad thing to stay the same, but you damn sure ain't gonna be able to keep up with the rest of the world if you had to be put in that arena to compete and to actually grow. So taken from other cultures to me is not necessarily a bad thing, and marketing off of it is not a bad thing to me anyway. It's just the name of the game, I suppose.
Like with our country, I don't even think it's us taking from other cultures.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the way our country was in the beginning, or just in general, it was people just coming here. It's people just coming here and integrating their culture into what we were, and like adjusting their lives to what the country was, but not losing their personality or their culture essentially, and just blending in with everything. Because like Asian food, for example, Asian, Hispanic, like Italian, it's bases from wherever it's from,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all been altered
To fit an
to fit
American, yeah, an
within
American.
like
It's
our
super
culture.
unique. You can't find General Tso chicken in China. They look at you stupid as fuck. Like, who the fuck
Like
is
our
General
curry,
Tso?
Our curry
I made that
is not a
nigga.
thing in India. Like
Yeah, it's
the
just
curry
not.
that we eat is not a thing in
No
India.
butter chicken. That's like
Man.
So like
chicken
our
masala. The
culture is a
fuck?
melting pot. Like it's just a whole bunch of stuff. Like a whole bunch of different people came here over time, and they just blended, and it all just became one thing. Even
Mhm.
though like we do still have our racial divide and all that whatnot, for the most part, everyone is just like a mix of all the cultures that came here in the first place. On top of the natives that were here too.
Well, see, I feel like that's the issue. That's the idealistic view of America and what our culture is. But the reality is, our culture is that, but also a white supremacist, white controlled system where they want to take the most unique things from the other cultures, claim them, but then deny the people that they get them from, aka the immigrants that have come over here. And so, yeah, we're an amalgam, and that's cool. But I feel like that's where we're having that cultural like adjustment period where people are like, yeah, you can't keep taking from us, and then also like denying us in our existence. But wanting to be like, oh yeah, we're going to remix, and this is American culture, but y'all aren't really Americans, or
Right.
y'all don't really count. So I feel like that's why we have so many issues in like a conflicting society right now. Ash is breaking her
Yeah, I
phone.
also feel that might have to do something with immigration right now. Also, it's like our country is what it is, and like we have people flooding in. Like people always come to this country. People are constantly coming to our country for whatever reasons that they have to make a better life, to make a better life for their children, whatever. And like us, like you said, us trying to figure out who we are. It's like we still like we got cultures coming in, we got cultures flooding in constantly, constantly. We can't like pin anything down because realistically, every time we get a flood of culture, things change. Um, things adjust, people adjust to new things, things become a new, and it's just like it might take time to cross the country, but it eventually crosses,
Mhm.
and like it becomes a whole new situation. Our country, the face of our country changes, and we just kind of don't know what the hell at the end of the day. Like right now, we got all these movements going on, and we can't pin down where we want to be. Cause like we got one movement going this way, we got another movement going this way, we got another movement going this way, and like none of these movements coincide with each other. they're all their opposite situations, not dealing with anything, not even working together. They're just pushing for their own agenda.
Right.
Kind of represents our people a little bit too, I guess. Because at the end of the day, even though we are a melting pot, everyone still pushes for their own agenda. Except for black people, we need to get our shit together.
We definitely need to get our shit together.
I'd love to have a black agenda. I think that'd be helpful.
Definitely.
Some direction. Which way are we moving, guys? We moving left? We moving right?
Shit, we don't know.
Up, down. 20 degrees, 30 degrees. In a triangle formation. What's up? Just let me
Just
know.
anything.
Yeah,
Just
just
anything, please.
which
Somewhere. Get a plan.
we running a zone defense. Like, let me know so I can get in position and play my part. Because right now I'm just out here doing my own thing, collecting these ducats, which is completely fine with me. But if y'all got a plan, let me know. I'm trying to be a part, but everybody gotta let me know. Like, you can't just be like one group like, oh, this is what we doing. Well,
It
you
don't seem like
and then
everybody doing
all
that.
the other groups get together and let me know what y'all doing. And once all of y'all know what y'all doing, I'll be right there with y'all.
And that's crazy. Like even within our own community, like we got all these different movements, but none of these movements are working together.
That's the issue.
And it's like, but y'all are still pushing for our rights. Y'all just pushing for separate things within our rights. It's still our rights. Like, why can't we just push for all this together?
Because no one can agree on what's first. Some people think that
I would say that's another situation too. Because I believe religion is another divide within our people too. But
what other topics are there on there?
That was just a
No,
What's the
I'm done with the news.
Right.
I don't know. Do you want to do that one? How you feel?
3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this one is
Do you want to do it? Or I asked you if you wanted to do it. You just started
I
going
mean,
right into it.
I was like in my head, I'm like, I don't think
got
she
it.
wants to do it, but
she
you
got
know,
it.
yeah.
I guess not. She ain't got it. She ain't got it.
I'll let you have it then.
Oh no, I didn't mean like.
Oh.
I mean like do it on the show. I just meant do it in general.
Oh, I mean, yeah, definitely it's something we can talk about. Unless we want to save it for the next one.
I don't know. I was just like gauging how everybody was feeling.
I'm straight, yeah. I'm just high.
She like, I'm just saying.
I'm just
All
high.
right, go ahead, Marcus. Does Marcus have the topics?
No. I did my look. I don't
He
know
did his
topics.
part.
I did my part. Like,
Definitely
y'all got the
did.
rest of the topics. Like, I had it. Y'all got it.
I did my
It's
part. I
cool.
did the research. Y'all saw
I
me.
read.
I
had
ignored the fuck
topics.
out of
I brought
y'all.
them to y'all. We was here.
You're
Good
right, Marcus.
conversation.
You did do your part. You was reading and checking things. I guess. Yeah, go ahead. You can read it.
So if it was generations of systematic oppression that kept the black people down, do we think that it would take the same amount of time to make a change?
You're alongside, good sir.
I don't think it'd take the same amount of time, but it depends in my mind because like you have to break certain people, like you have to break people of a certain mindset because there'd be a mindset of like this isn't like that's not here's the perfect one. That's white people stuff. Like
I hate that shit with a fucking burning
like,
passion. I hate
granted,
that shit. I will catch
I'm not even gonna lie.
I
I used to be that person like back in the day.
Fucking.
But like just like understanding it and seeing it from a different point of view, it's not like you shouldn't like knock people for being professional because that's what it always was. It was like, oh, you're being professional, you're talking proper, you're doing all this. Something like white person. you doing white people shit. Like,
I grew so subject to that. Not only am I fucking light skinned, my mother still to this day. Such a fucking white girl. I shave my legs. Shut your fucking white girl. I'm doing that white people shit. Like when I was going to counseling, what you doing with that white people shit? What the fuck you talking about? Talking about your feelings for Ash? One of them white people. That's that white people shit. What the fuck does that even mean? Oh my goodness, the music I listen to, such a fucking white girl. I fucking hate that shit because I've heard it so.
oh, I'm right there with you. I got caught up on that one too.
Yo, that shit hurts. Like it hurts because like I would hear from my classmates and just couldn't understand like that's like white people shit. Like I would walk around with stacks of CDs and it was mostly rock CDs, and you could see them on the cover all the time trying to be a white girl, trying to be a white girl. No, it's just what I like. It's just who I am. It's how I talk. I never was like, oh, I'm trying to be white. I'm trying to adapt white culture. Like, no, it's just what it is. Like, that shit frustrates me still to this day.
I am the way I am to avoid that whole situation.
Like,
Yo, don't.
like,
I
when I-
heard that
like,
shit. Like that
when I
shit.
was
After a
younger,
while, it would just be like.
like it's like, all right, y'all actually have to catch me in the situation to notice it.
Mhm.
But like, you see how I am now, right? Put me around a whole bunch of hood people. My slang will change automatically. Like the way I talk, like
Yeah.
my words will slur. It's just a natural reaction to who I'm around. Like I adapt to who I'm around. So if I'm around these people, this is how I'm talking now. Like you just put me in a room with my brothers alone. I talk completely different to my brothers most of the time than I talk to most people I'm around. Just because.
That's how I am too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for me
like-
it'd be a slight difference. Like I know not to go in there just, hey everybody, how are you? It's like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Like I know, but generally I would still be like, oh, Ashley's different. Somebody will pick me out not just because of my height and everything. Like somebody will pick me out just because I don't change that much. I will change to a slight degree depending on the situation, but I don't change that much.
Oh
And
yeah,
people
like
usually
you
are
definitely
like,
can like people would definitely be able to look at me and be like, oh, he not
you're
not that, but like he cool. Like,
you're not a part of our tribe. Who are you? Yeah, it's hard for me to switch it up. Like I said, certain mannerisms and stuff like that might change, but other than that, people will still end up being like, "He's such a white girl." Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't understand. What did I do? Someone help me understand. I'm not doing nothing different. I'm just me.
but like, yeah, I feel like those are the type of mindsets you have
Yeah,
to break.
to overcome.
Like, yeah, because things like that are looked at as like, oh, that's white people shit. Why you doing that? Da 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 da. You break that mindset in a sense. Well, now you're not looking at those things that way, and you could somewhat start to move forward and not like keep yourself in a mindset in which you're stuck or stagnant for
That plays
Situation.
right into the first situation we was talking about with the people that choose to be or that choose to live in ignorance.
Right. And the thing that bothers me about it is how could we call it a white thing? Like rock and roll was definitely created by niggas anyway. That shit comes from like,
But see, that's the thing. Most
and
white
then
people
all
don't
of
know
a
that.
sudden, then all of a sudden it's
A lot of
white.
white
I
people don't know that.
understand. Yeah, I understand. Like it definitely is predominated by white artists, but
Yeah.
originally it was ours. All right, I was thinking about this other day. If y'all heard the theory that white people was created somewhere, like we've always been here, and then white people were created somewhere in a cave.
Oh, I had a
This
crazy
the wild theory
I
about
had
that,
a
right?
crazy ass theory about that one time.
So, how could we say that something is inherently white? If I create something, I have to teach it. So that means slavery. That means white supremacy, a supremacist system. That means I would have to teach you that shit. That means you learned it from somewhere. So technically, even all the bad shit that we try to put on white people, that's a white people thing, is technically ours in the first place, if we had to go off that theory.
I mean, yeah, everything is ours.
Mm-hmm.
The world included. I'll take that if I get the world.
Real quick.
That's it. That's all I gotta take is a little. My ancestors created you and threw you
Black
out.
and wild.
I mean, because realistically, the story go. It's like two stories. One, they created you on a fuck up and kicked you out.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, you don't. This was a mistake. You gotta go.
What We gonna put the Caucasus.
The caucus.
Yeah,
Put
them
them in
where
the
it-
Caucasus
put it
Mountains.
where it's cold at. They
Take
can't.
their
They can't
asses up
live
there,
here.
Freeze their ass.
Like their ass up there.
And so that's what happened.
I'm like, hey,
Well,
that's
and
where the
so-
Vikings came from. They
and
came
then-
back with a
and then by
vengeance.
that logic, it's still our
Shit
fault.
up there, don't die in a week.
Hell no,
Hey,
they
and
gonna give
then-
us melanin. Fuck
And
that.
then realistically, they got mad because they was up there and they brooded and bided their time. And then this is them getting their Avengers. So
Coming back.
yeah, so that could be our fault.
Tried to get rid of me, mother. Oh hell.
So yeah, exactly. That could
It's
be our
like, oh
fault.
no, they adapted and survived.
Or it's like some
Tyrone!
evil. Wasn't it like an evil scientist or witch doctor created them?
yeah.
It's the other one, yeah. Or it's
It was
like,
like
the
a
evil,
witch doctor created them on some trash.
Yeah, or the evil witch doctor created them on some trash.
Right.
And then like I mean, then his whole clan to them.
All right, so
But it was just us as a group. We created them and then threw them out, and now they came back to like fuck with us. Like, yeah, it's kind of like our karma, but y'all still belong to us.
At the end of the day.
You supposed to kill these motherfuckers.
trying to hide the truth. Trying to let them
Tyrone.
know. They can never know.
Tyrone, your lazy ass just left him up there. What the fuck?
I hate y'all so much.
Good on you for shit.
Man, I thought they was just gonna die, you know.
What you name them? What you named them? You know what you name them?
Caucasians. I mean, you told me to take him to the Caucasus.
So you said the Caucasus.
Like,
Oh no! All right,
and
so
then my,
I had like, all right, so I had this
you
crazy
know,
theory
Jeff
on,
from down the block asked me what you doing with
Hey, you trying to
those?
buy some of these Caucasians?
And you know, I was like, man, you know, I got these, and I was like, shit, what do I call them? I was like, Caucasians. Yeah, I was like, I got these Caucasians. We about to go to the Caucasus.
2 for $5 though.
See, y'all missed the whole situation. They got
Two
free.
for
All right,
They don't carry too much.
Shut up.
25.
25.
Well, I had this theory, right?
Sorry,
I
bro.
don't feel like I should say that. So I'm gonna go ahead and this is this theory about white people, right?
Okay.
So for a good while, when I was really into like conspiracy theories and shit,
Mhm.
I was like, man, look at this crazy ass theory. The white people, they're not from here, right?
Oh, yeah, you told me they were a virus.
Wait, hold on, not that one. That's not the one.
Okay.
Just put some NyQuil on them.
Well, no, he told me
That
that.
Tussin
He definitely told me
motherfucker.
that white people were a virus at one point.
All right, so look, right, this is my theory, right? So I feel like white people came to this, or not from. Oh, actually, it was the virus thing. This all does tie in. I forgot. White people are not from this planet, right?
Mhm.
They're not of this world. And the reason I believe this for a long time is like if you look at culture throughout history, all the minorities, or natives,
Mhm.
they all worshipped, paid tribute to the earth, right? Respected the earth like it was a living creature, like it was a living being, did nothing to disrespect it. White people come along.
They got this book.
Right.
And they gonna start giving out this book to everybody. And then we were
And
like,
all
shit,
of a
we
sudden-
want a book.
Right. All of a
I see
sudden,
that.
we stopped giving a fuck about the earth. And look at us now.
And now we want
It's
books.
like realistically, the only people in our world now that really care about the world and like its being and all that whatnot, outside of like most recent uprising of like people in nature and culture, were like the tribes, the people that were left to their own that weren't forced into civilization or chose not to become part of civilization.
Right.
Outside of that, it's like I said, white people came along, and like you said, it's a virus. I look at it as like it's a virus because you're sweeping across the earth, and Earth is slowly being destroyed.
He also said that the planet does its best to try and kill white people.
I don't remember that. On that one.
He said that their bodies aren't made for the earth.
Oh, okay, got you. They're not though. Look.
I never said that.
No, I just don't remember saying it. Like I didn't remember the whole virus thing until I started talking about it. But yeah, like it was just the whole thing. I'm like, they're like, it's like a virus on the earth because like realistically, if you think about it, they're slowly killing the earth. And like, yes, like everyone's in on it now, but that's not how it originally was.
Yeah, that shows their mentality, like how babyish they're just now like maybe we should try to clean things up. Oh, okay.
And it's like,
before
and
mom
like
gets
I said,
home.
Earth
Ignore
is
us.
slowly like
Yeah,
they're so
what we been
like
telling you?
they said Earth is slowly trying to kill them off because realistically they're not built for this environment. I feel like
Yeah,
for real.
George Carlin said this shit the best. He said, "How arrogant to think that you are destroying the earth. The earth could flick you off like the flea that you are."
Because like if we had like one major like catastrophic Earth event, it would probably wipe out humanity.
Right.
In
It
a
can.
sense.
Earth is always
Like,
in control, no matter
if-
how bad it looks.
If Yellowstone blew right now, because you know all of Yellowstone Park is a huge ass volcano,
Right.
like
Right.
the crater, like all that, like that shit
Mhm.
went up. Everything within Yellowstone is gone instantly. All those animals that we hold dear, all those buffaloes,
It's
the
gone.
last ones in the country, gone.
I'm running to the basement,
You said what?
sub basement.
If Yellowstone blows, it's essentially going to cover the whole United States. It'd be
Right.
essentially blocking off all sunlight, meaning life is going to start dying. And like that's a chunk of population is going to hit the United States. Most of this side of the world is going to travel over South America. It's going to probably cover most of the Amazon, which would be fucking devastating.
Mhm.
And it would spread north. It won't hit the whole North Circle because in the north is where most of our oxygen comes from. But it's gonna fuck up a good portion of the planet.
Why don't we just get rid of Yellowstone? It seems like it gotta go.
What we gonna do?
We gonna put it out on Mars.
Like I said,
That
it's
sounds
just
like
a
a
big
good
ass,
idea.
like it's
Pick
just a
that
big
whole
ass
shit
volcano.
up. Pick that
Like,
shit
and that's the
up.
crazy shit. Like
Take that shit off.
Yosemite Park
Y'all
being a
need to
big ass
restart that
volcano,
shit.
people just be visiting that shit. Like, oh, look at the geyser. My nigga, you standing in an active volcano. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Let it
Like,
die.
this bitch could go up any day. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go visit Yellowstone. Today was the day. Like, my nigga, no. Mm-mm. So yeah,
I
the
mean, I
world
guess-
like has the potential to like.
So I feel
then
like
we
if
be
it's
getting
gonna go
tsunamis
off-
and shit.
I need to live on the coast. I ain't got a boat and leave. Ain't gonna be no plane.
But like, here, think about it. Now that you made me think about it for real, we done had all these natural disasters in the last couple years, like wiping people off the face of it. Like you done had tsunamis wiping places out. You done had hurricanes completely wiping shit out. What if that's Earth? Like, hey, y'all niggas gotta go. It's too many of y'all.
I'm not
Like,
afraid to die.
200 years
though.
ago,
I'm not like
There was 1 million people here. Now there's 7 million. Y'all doing too much. Y'all not wearing condoms. I don't know what the fuck going on, but it's not. Y'all rapidly and like,
you know how unnatural
man,
condoms
like-
is.
but at the same
Let's
time,
keep it
it's not like
Condoms, y'all need to
like
legalize
you don't
weed.
even have to look at just white people. Like humanity as a race is like a virus because like we're spreading all like as a whole we're
Mhm.
spreading across the country like our world and we're taking from it, not giving back and like or taking care of it. We're just pulling from it, and eventually it's gonna die. Whatever's here is gonna
it
be
has
gone.
to.
And that's like now people are like, oh yeah, fuck it, we just gonna leave.
I think
That's what we gonna do. We just gonna like fuck it. All right, this is where we was for all of existence.
That's what I'm saying. I
They're
don't
like,
want
fuck
none of
this
these
planet,
ignorant
we going to
motherfuckers on
Mars.
I don't want none of this ignorance anywhere else. Like you said, it's a virus. Contain that shit. I don't want it nowhere else. I don't want
Let
it
that shit
anywhere
into the
else.
space.
For what? I don't want this raggedy ass planet.
They gotta let. They
You
gotta.
gonna try to take the other way and make it a second hand, but it's gonna be a thrift store, and this fucking Mars gonna be Gucci.
Yeah, let them go.
No.
Let them go.
What?
Let them go.
And you
Because
know, of
I
course,
feel
when
like
people
after
leave, all the people that can't afford just gonna get left here.
It left
Team
here.
to
and
fuck
it's just-
shit.
Hey, it's gonna be all right. Cause I feel like then it's gonna be like,
This
all
nigga
right,
Tony want to own Mars.
nah.
Watch
No,
he come
no.
out with the
Ooh,
idea.
ooh, I just got a great ass idea. I need
Like-
y'all. I need everybody to get the fuck off the planet.
I
Everybody go to
bet.
Mars. Leave
You
me
know
here.
what I'm saying? Once we start space exploration, like,
No, fuck
that's
that.
gonna be his next thing. Like, hey y'all, we should own Jupiter.
What was that? Wait, what was
All of
that?
it?
What was that
Yeah,
Will
even
Smith
the
movie with
moons.
Jaden?
Oh, after Earth.
Yeah, where they left Earth for like 200 years. Leave me here.
Now, see, I feel like if they left Earth to all the like poor, disenfranchised, and fucked up people,
Mhm.
there'd probably be a little bit of fighting in the beginning, but then the people would probably galvanize and be like, "All right, we kind of got to work together." This
Well, we
is
running out of
not-
food,
this-
and I'm
this
hungry
not
fighting
gonna
your
work.
ass.
Like, if you think like Lost in Space, right? When they rebooted it, they showed like what Earth looked like
Mhm.
and why they left Earth. To the point, like where they were in the point in which time they left Earth, they couldn't be outside without a gas mask. That's how polluted the planet It's
that
crazy.
movie with Will Smith and his son?
That's
After
what they
Earth?
talking about.
No,
like
I
I
thought
was
you said
talking about
Lost
Lost
in
in Space.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's like how that shit was too. And the Earth
Alright.
still looked like it looked nice.
Yeah, like,
it was
nature
all
retook
overgrown
it,
and shit.
but-
But yeah, but then it just was like,
And like that's a perfect example of nature taking the world back because he was like, Earth became hostile to humans.
right.
Everything on Earth evolved to kill humans, so that's why we had to
Oh
leave.
wow, that's a cool concept.
That's what you got to do. Evolve.
Yeah, I think if they actually taught us how to be more comfortable with death, that we wouldn't have such a problem with what's going on right now. Because think about it, essentially Earth is dying, but if you understood death a little bit more, I don't think we would have such a panic, so to speak, about it. I don't even know if it's a panic now,
I don't think Earth is dying.
but it's. I think Earth is dying, or maybe
Like, I won't say
evolution.
It's dying. We're just like we're choking the fuck out of it. Let's put it that way. Like restricting it to a sense, because like us developing and going over the land and like tearing shit down and whatnot, in my mind, like halts the evolution of the planet itself.
Okay, so
Well, something has to die in order for it to go to
I
evolution,
guess-
right?
Yeah, I understand that.
I guess the way that I look at it is like the planet's in like a transitional period. That's probably why we have a lot of weather patterns changing and things like that. And that's probably going to lead to a lot of like changes once it's fully done, doing its full shift, and like things meld and refreeze in different positions. I think a lot of us are going to get fucked up like once it's all said and done. But I think the planet is well on its way to doing what it was continuing to already do. And so I think that that's what's happening. Like I feel like yeah, we fucking it up, and like we fucking up its current ecosystem, but it's already working on shifting this ecosystem to something completely different. That's gonna be like, oh, this is crazy.
What if we had nothing to do with it though? Like, what if
I
we
was just about
stopped
to say, what
blaming
if we caused
ourselves?
See, I don't think that it's us. I think the planet is just.
Dying.
I don't think that it's dying. I think it's just changing. Like
Death is change. Death, transition. If you want to
or
sugarcoat death, you
it's,
could just say a
the
better
Earth
way.
is dying as we know it.
I
But
guess
Yeah.
here's
the
thing,
planet
though, right?
has a larger entity, and so I think it like it's shedding its skin. I don't think this top shit really matter. Like its core is not dying. Its center's not going out. When I think of a planet dying, I think of it's going cold.
Yeah, the bitches.
Like it's not. There's no
It's a
more
rock.
heat. It's not.
It's
It's
an
just a
asteroid now.
rock now. It's an asteroid.
Well, look at plants. If we had to say the microcosm is like, what is it? The microcosm is like the vision of the macrocosm of the whole. The earth could never truly die in a sense. Like, or when you watch flowers, on the surface when it comes winter, there's look like there's nothing going on.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Why when I'm saying like they're
Yeah.
not dying.
I guess I just become comfortable using the word death so much.
I was about to
You
say,
try to
like,
kill
just-
everything. You're just like yeah,
No,
everything is
nothing
dead.
really truly dies, like you said. Transition to me, it's like another. It's a sugar coated word for dying. But I don't see death as the end. If I don't, there's nothing truly ever ends. It just transforms into something else. But you have to go through a death in order to transform into something else.
Oh, yeah, I
There's
think
no way
things-
to avoid
Yeah,
it.
like this whole top shit is gonna die, but I don't think
like
that's important.
that's happened on the planet, just
What
like
the fuck?
alone.
The top shit gonna die. What's in the middle?
Because like,
Oh, my bad.
not like if
Lava.
you, like look past like if you from a scientific view, you look through like the history of the Earth. Like we've had like a couple great extinctions. The
Mhm.
only ones that people ever talk about is the one of the dinosaurs. Because I mean, I guess that's the only one they care about. But it's been like like there's been mass extinctions that had not like just the planet itself
Right.
resetting and like destroying everything, like surface, like the world resetting, and hell, even the ice ages themselves.
Yeah, that's death.
It's just
But
the
no,
world,
with
like,
the fucking
hey,
ice. It's
the
dead.
Climate got colder,
Decided to
everything
change.
froze.
Mhm.
It's like a reset at the end of the day because most of the population got wiped out when the ice age happened. When these mass extinctions happened, majority of the world population of whatever was there got wiped out and everything just reset. Dinosaurs got wiped out. Only things that survived was little mammals. Reset. So
I think, going back to what I was saying about, I don't think it's the earth necessarily. What was I saying? That we're actually exacerbating its changes. Like, what if we have nothing to do with the earth? Earth is doing its own thing. I think it's actually the opposite. Like, we keep trying to validate that we need to be fucking here, we need to be alive, and we so afraid of death that we just won't let shit naturally happen. We have to constantly think of ways to, like, immunizations. We have to constantly think of ways to keep you alive, keep you alive, keep you running, keep you running, keep you running. you don't get no fucking rest. You fucking tired in the morning. Take some goddamn caffeine. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't focus. Fucking Adderall. Dude, just keep going. Just keep fucking going. Just that fucking corn. Dude, just keep fucking milling the earth. Just keep it. Just keep shoving food. Just no, there's no stopping. I think we're like counterproductive to that because we so focused on staying alive. So I think the earth does its own thing in terms of it. Like it could kill me any moment. I respect her so much, and I love her so much. Like, yeah, like I have no, I'm in awe of her fucking power, and I'm not afraid of it. If she decides that I gotta go, it's my time to fucking go.
Like, if the sun decides the solar flare, a real strong solar flare,
you win, bitch.
It's wiping on our atmosphere.
Yeah,
About
what
to
are
turn
we gonna
into
do?
fucking
We're gonna try to,
Terminator 2 in
like I
this
said,
bitch.
you can still be in the perpetual fight. You can still,
Shit.
we need more fucking corn, and we need to save Earth, and we need to stop all the plastics and shit. Not really. If she wanted you off, you'd be off. If she wanted all the trash off this motherfucker, she'd get rid of all the trash. It's pretty simple.
I don't know.
not-
We introduced a lot of shit that wasn't just naturally.
Yeah, audio not a necessity to survive. Instead of just saying like, "Oh man, this corn is great,"
we
and I'm gonna
never
have to wait 2 more
advanced-
years for the soil to replenish itself.
mean,
I
that's
can
actually
wait.
a thing, though.
It would be wild if we never advanced. The Earth would probably be like so much different. If we never took away from it the way we did.
I mean, I do believe it'd be a different environment. Like if we didn't not even like us, if we didn't expand the way we did. Because like our cities and shit are like vast and huge and take up a mass amount of land that used to just be like forest and wildlife.
True.
So I don't know. And then like our cities like change the patterns of animals and whatnot. That's a lot.
I don't know. I feel like I don't think we've necessarily played a role in like the grand scheme of what the Earth is gonna do. Like, if volcanoes are gonna erupt, they're probably gonna erupt.
Yeah,
Like, if plates are gonna shift, if it's gonna happen earthquake, shit like that. That's probably like it's doing what it wants to do when it wants to do it.
Yeah, like our predictions just make us feel better. I feel like if the Earth just decided y'all don't get no more food, we won't have no more fucking food.
But I think that us like dumping shit into the water does have like direct effects on like our current day life.
Definitely.
Like it might not necessarily change the world's plan of what it was going to do, but it probably is directly fucking up our living conditions. And so I think that while yeah, we should be like we don't necessarily dictate where the world's gonna go. We may want to just make our own personal living conditions a little bit better. Like, how about we don't live in filth?
And that's the thing. It's like
And I guess that's where I'm at. Like,
a lot of
I don't want to live in
conservation
filth.
is more or less about.
It's not about what the world's doing. It's gonna be it.
Yeah.
Tony
I-
not to be dirty.
Basically.
Not Tony.
Because
That's
you have a situation where
What?
you like overfishing and like stuff like
Yeah.
that. You overfish. Well, if you overfish, well, you ain't gonna have to fish no more. So you might want to just chill.
Chill out.
Yeah, it's like we're
Go
dumb.
eat something else.
It's like it's
We
like a
are-
species.
we're
We're
greedy.
super dumb.
Yeah, like we wipe
greedy.
shit out.
It's like
and
no forethought.
alright,
we
well,
don't. Yeah, we don't
We ain't got that no more.
have any second thoughts of what we're doing. We're just doing it because we're kind of selfish.
Like
Yeah.
Tasmanian
Society.
tiger.
Period.
Like they hit Australia and it's like no, they hit Tasmania and it's like, hey, these fucking tigers, these fucking dog things, they inconvenient to me. Kill them all. And they literally just wiped them out just because they were there. Like y'all
Send them
came
to
to
the
their
Caucasus.
land and was like, you know what, we want to put houses here. Y'all keep eating our sheep. Kill them all. What the fuck kind of shit is that?
Yeah, like there's something there that's just not vibing. Like you said, it's just some mentality that's just like, no. Whatever with that
Let
was,
me
that
shit
was working.
alone.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, that's wild. Like, I don't know if we answered the question.
What the fuck was the question?
It's about do we think that since we went through like generations
I
of
feel like
systematic
we did.
oppression,
Yeah, we answered the first part,
And then we went into another.
so we successfully answered the question and many others.
We got a conversation. And also we're white people. All right.
let's see how long we've been recording.
don't know.
fucking
All I can
long.
see
I'm
is
not
seconds.
answering no fucking relationship questions today.
Oh no.
Definitely
We can let
That's-
that ride to the next.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that for like next time. So
Yeah.
like next episode. you'll
I'll
have
be
questions
prepared
for
because
me,
I
yeah.
definitely wasn't. 'Cause I was super
Oh no,
far
I
behind.
didn't figure that we needed to have like.
Yeah, after the first
Each.
hour, I'm like, oh.
Oh, I was like, we don't need to have like each thing in every segment. Like if we do
Oh,
like
okay.
something on like black people in life and shit like that, and the news, that could just be it. Or we do like just relationship in the news. I feel like the news would be stable, but other than that, like we don't necessarily have to do all three and make that bitch 3 hours. It's a triple threat. Whoa.
Shots fired.
Bang. But now, I'm done. We've been podding for about
Successful potting.
yeah,
Pod.
did a whole lot of podding.
Successful pod.
Big pot.
Yeah, big pod over here. Big pod, little pod.
Pod major.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm out. Hit the like button, subscribe, follow us, hit the bell.
Ding.
Make sure you hit the bell so you get notified when we post new stuff. You know,
Ding, ding.
I'm not
Ding,
gonna
ding.
keep saying this like all those other YouTubers either.
No, YouTube mandates that if you don't say it, they kill you.
Like everybody be like, hit that
Like,
bell,
you ain't gotta
like
say
and
it.
subscribe.
Like, hit
Like
that
I'm gonna say it a
notification
couple of
button.
times
Subscribe
just so
button
y'all
up on the
remember to
screen,
like
though.
and subscribe.
YouTube's literally right there with a gun.
But
Like,
like,
halfway through
y'all
the
should
thing,
know.
you see the
Listen,
image.
YouTube's
Like,
in here
like
right
it.
now with a gun
Like,
next
hey,
to
listen,
Tony's
it's like,
head.
Hey, subscribe.
subscribe,
Hit that bell. And then you
YouTube
go back
got
to
us
the image.
hostage right now. If you do not say that
Subscribe,
shit, I will
hit that
fucking
bell.
kill you. It has my child. Please, YouTube, put down my kid.
Well, they've gone into a tangent and I'm
Alright.
leaving. Goodbye, people.
Mm.